But yeah, I would definitely be on that. It doesn't even matter that this is all off the record shit. It doesn't even matter that like no matter what data you wanted to show me that socialism quote unquote works, it wouldn't matter to me because it takes huge authoritarian government to happen. You have to have huge government to even implement it. So that just restricts people's liberties, right? Would you agree?
In some configurations, yes, but there's also other configurations where the society is the ruling factor, and those would be like your communes, right? Like your local communes. Um, but I'm not really afraid of authoritarianism, to be honest. I actually am probably more authoritarian than I am libertarian at this point.
I'm not even talking about being afraid of it. I'm talking about that you are admitting that you would take away people's liberties for quote unquote the greater good.
Take away their what? I'm sorry, I kind
Their
of cut out.
liberties, their freedom. You
I
have
mean,
to
you
be able
wouldn't
to take
really,
away their freedoms.
you wouldn't
Mhm.
lose anything really. I mean, you wouldn't lose like your freedom of speech. You can still say what you want to say. You can still go where you want to go.
Well,
You just can't.
socialism fundamentally takes away like the right to property,
Correct.
I mean,
at least.
you can't have, you know, how do I put this?
But does
You
it or
can't.
does it not take away people's property?
It does take away people's property. Yes, it
Okay.
becomes a communal thing. But at the end of the day, I think that's okay because I
That's
care more
okay.
about the I care more about the community than me, man.
That's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to take away people's stuff because other people may need it instead of the
Hell yeah.
voluntary transaction of hey, I'm
But
going to give this to you instead of being forced to do so.
Because in most cases, you're taking things that are not needed. You're taking from the Jeff Bezoses. You're taking
Who are
from
you to say that it's not needed?
who needs 7 yachts? Who needs 10 yachts?
Somebody who earned them. Somebody who has the money to afford them.
But do you need them though?
It doesn't matter. You don't need to drink soda, right? Are we going to take away soda and say that you know what, you
Honestly,
should only be able to you know what, the community has come to the consensus that everyone is just going to drink water. And not only water, but you have to drink this ethos water from Starbucks. This is the water that everyone has agreed upon. It's the best water. You can't drink soda anymore.
I mean, aside of socialism, I'm totally for a soda ban. If I had not drank
That is
soda for
fucking
7
crazy,
years,
bro. That is so crazy, bro.
I'm just saying. Look at this weight, man. I would not be this heavy if I didn't
Dude,
drink
it's
soda.
up to that's what freedom is. You know what you look like to me, Crazy Beard? You look like freedom, brother. That's what you look like to me.
If Freedom looks like me, Freedom's got diabetes and is gonna die from coronavirus.
Dude, but here's the thing. People have the right to die how they want to die. If I want to ingest, I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself too, man, because think about it this way. Like, you are on board with people being able to ingest any amount of drugs that they want to ingest, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then how are you then going to say that, oh, well, people should be having their liberties taken away on what type of soda that they want to ingest? Do you understand the contradiction?
I understand. I was mostly kidding about the.
Okay. Okay, but like still, it's the same thing. Like you're saying that you don't need to have this, so we're gonna take this shit from you. Like that's my whole thing, man. So like that's why I don't think I would ever make a good capitalism versus socialism debate because everyone really typically wants to talk about how if it works or not, and I'm sitting here like I don't give a shit if it works. Like you're taking away like my fucking liberties, man.
May I ask, have you read any of the theory books? Have you read like the manifesto by chance?
I have not. Let me ask you a question. Because I haven't read any of those books. I'll totally admit that. But I'll ask you a question, and then if you answer the right way, I will totally go ahead and read them. Does it take big government to achieve these goals?
In most cases.
Okay, then
yes.
I have no inclination to read them. If it didn't take big government to achieve them, then I'd be like, dude, I should read it. But if it takes big government, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like they had this thing back. Do you remember that stop and frisk program that they used to have?
Yeah.
Okay, so found to be hugely unconstitutional in the end, but they had stop and frisk programs like in New York, and there were a lot of people that were saying, look, guys, with these stop and frisk programs, we eliminated a lot of this crime, right? So they said that it quote unquote worked. Not everybody. Some people said that it didn't work, but there are a lot of people advocating for that it worked. So my thing is that I don't care if it eliminated crime to like 0%. If it reduced crime to 0%, it wouldn't matter because that shit is totally unconstitutional and taking away people's liberties. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's kind of like where I stand.
I think like an even bigger example would be if you're talking about like the majority and like you can exploit the minority to help the majority wasn't that what slavery was?
Facts.
But
Not
why
really.
we're against slavery? Like when they're trying to ban slavery.
Yo,
people
that's
in the
facts,
South,
Ben.
they
I mean,
said-
it was helping the majority of people, right?
yeah, the people in the South, they said, if you do this, you're going to crash the economy. We're all going to go into poverty. But you know what? I wouldn't care. I mean, they started the
difference-
Civil War. A lot of people died in the Civil War. I mean, there was a lot of problems that came from banning slavery. The economy didn't crash; it did fine. But even if it did, I would say, you know what? Slavery is it's an infringement upon individual rights.
Right.
Or
And the
we're
mar-
not
and the
looking out
market-
for
and the
community. We're
market-
looking out for each individual.
Right. And the market after time would correct itself, right? I'm not saying that next day that everything's going to go back to where it is, but the market will correct itself.
But
That's
the
why I think the
difference,
role of
though-
the government is to protect those individual rights. That's why banning slavery was something I support.
Right.
The difference, though, is like with socialism, the majority is going to agree, right? We're all going to have a
We don't
very
live under
minute
mob rule, man.
what?
We don't live under mob rule.
That's
The
basically
majority
what it
the
would be.
majority doesn't mean anything. That's why we have electoral college and stuff like this. The majority doesn't mean anything. Like you have to be able to have voices for the minority.
Well, what you would do in some cases, there's lots of ways to structure it, but one thing you could do is you could have local small governments.
Yeah.
You'd have basically like a federation almost. You would elect your leader for your community, and they would
Like say like your township or whatever.
yeah, and they would talk to a bigger structure, a bigger structure, a bigger structure. But everyone would have a minute amount of control. Right now, you can't control what Starbucks does. You
But
can't
there's
control-
nothing stopping people from doing that now.
There is. The corporations, they're still allowed to do whatever the hell they want to do.
Well, not really. I mean,
outside of
government's involved, and kind of like what Ben said. Like right now, I mean, we have capitalism, but we more so have corporatism, and we have like crony capitalism. Government shouldn't be involved in any way, shape, or form. It should just be capitalism.
So you're
Yeah.
talking about like no regulation at all, like none.
Pretty much.
Well, I guess it would
Close to
depend.
that.
It would depend on what regulation you're talking about, but in theory, correct, none. Businesses should be
So-
able to discriminate how they want to discriminate. Businesses should be able to run how they want to, but of course, they would be subject to, where is that property? Where is that? Where's their building? Like, what does that landowner or that township or whatever say on certain things? So, but yeah,
So like
Yeah, like-
safety stuff, would you want to get rid of safety regulations?
safety regulations.
Yeah, like I don't know.
There's
You
some
must
safety
have your
regulations.
workers wear gloves if they're handling certain amounts of waste or whatever.
So here's my question to you. I would say if a certain corporation, let's say like a hospital or whatever, private hospital or whatever you're going to say, do you think that many people would want to go there and fund that business if they found out that they're not using these things?
Well, I mean, it would be more of like a manufacturing thing. Like maybe they don't give adequate breaks, or they're not giving good protective material to their
Mhm.
employees
Mhm.
because they don't really care if the employee survives or not.
In like what profession is this example in?
I don't really have an exact example for you, but I'm
Okay.
sure there are cases where there's safety regulations.
But
out
when
there.
you have
I can-
when you have like OSHA come in and like put in these regulations to protect people, then they put out these graphs and they say, look at this, look at the safety, or it would be going up if it was safety. Look at the safety going up. But what they don't show you is the graph before they got there, which was going up at the exact same rate. And like another example I could say that with is like child labor. People are like, oh, well, the government had to fix child labor because of capitalism. Well, child labor was going down and down, and it was so low by the time they actually banned it in America. And they actually hurt some families because of that, because there were some kids who just had like small farm jobs and they were helping support their families, and now they couldn't work.
Yeah, I'm super libertarian on that. I don't think that we should have child labor laws.
Yeah,
I think that is
Not
up.
really.
Now that being said, I'm
disagree
not
there.
well, because I believe that it's up to the parent and the child themselves if they want to agree to work.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we saw
Well-
people stopped doing it when things got more productive and things got safer and everything.
Right.
It just was going away. So it's not like, we would have this mass child labor problem today if it was legal.
Right.
Well, and that's how a lot of laws start, right? You have a small minority that eventually becomes a majority, and they push for it. Gay marriage was illegal for how many years until people started actually pushing for it?
What, gay marriage?
why-
Well, yeah, but also the government should have never been involved in marriage in the first place.
I mean, I can agree with you on that because that shouldn't be like a legal thing. That should be a societal thing.
Right. Right.